Okay, so we're talking about sleep, and we're going to share some stories, some testimonials of people who absolutely love their Niken sleep products. Barbara Richmond, you got your hand raised right away.
I sure do. I'm going to give you two quick stories. When we were introduced to Nikan, it was through the sleep system. I was serenaded every night by my husband's orchestra, aka snoring and other sounds. So I was sleep deprived, and we were loaned a sleep system. We had some other issues, and um, the sleep system made all the difference in the world. So we explored some of the other products and saw positive results, so we decided to join the company. Well, as many of you know, I've had multiple surgeries in the just over a year, three in the last 7 months, and I took my Kenko Fit and folded it in half because my son came to stay with me and he needed my bed. He's 6'2", and my 5'2" frame fit very nicely on my sofa. So I put the fit and folded it in half. So I was cocooned underneath and on top by the fit technology. And then the sleeping bag on top or the comforter. It was one or the other. And I had absolutely phenomenal healing in spite of all those surgeries and the discomfort. I only missed 2 nights sleep. I average every night a solid 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and I'm not having to get up to the washroom. It's all about the technology cocooning us and trusting in it to work because it does. And if you drink the pie water, it makes everything work more efficiently.
Yeah, I agree with you very much so. Okay, Pam.
I'm going to tell the story about my son, even though when I was exposed to Niken, it was because of problems that I needed. It was an answer to my prayers. And so my son was 9 when Niken came into our lives. He's now 37, but he did not sleep. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you're going to love it the first night your baby sleeps through the night." Well, at age 9, I was still waiting on that wonderful night that he would sleep through. So that wasn't happening. And he was having some challenges at school. And when I heard about this, I said, if he sleeps, I'll sleep, right?
Yeah.
So I put him in the sleep system first, didn't say anything to him, not that I thought wouldn't understand. I just figured he doesn't know. I'm just going to put it on there and watch him. The very first night, he slept all night. Now, did I? No, because I was really being aware of what was going on. But after 5 nights, I was taking it off his bed and he happened to come in his room and he goes, "Where are you going with that thing, Mom?" And I said, "What thing?" And he said, that pad thing you put on my bed. And I said, "Well, I'm going to give it back to Mrs. Zipperly." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Tell me why you're asking." He said, "Because it makes me feel good." He said, "In fact, I think that if you got one of these things, then you would sleep better too." He was right. Smart boy. So it was a big number one thing for all of us. The water wasn't there first, but when I was drinking water anyway as a dental hygienist, I wasn't much on any of the other things. So it worked and it worked great. And it shaped his life all the way through school. He had it all the way through college and his doctorate program. So his teachers are shocked of how well he did as he ended up in school. So yes, it is definitely. I think I figured up with all the years I had it that it cost us 0.05 cents a day
Mm, mhm.
to have the results we had.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because somebody can look at the cost of the sleeps, the mattress topper, any of those products. And any quality sleep product in a store, a mattress, a good comforter is an investment. And it is, but they don't have the technology that ours has.
Mm-mm.
And so if you start thinking about it, what is a good night's sleep worth? And what if you could put together good night's sleeps for the rest of your life, as long as you're on the sleep system? It comes down to it's literally pennies per night. I
Well, and
think
I'll add in, it is 1/3 less today, 25 years later, than what I paid for it 25 years ago.
that's right. That's right. Okay, I know there's other stories. Who else wants to share?
I'll share. I'll share. Hello, everyone. Debbie Jones here. Um, so my story goes back to about 2.5 years ago. So I had already been introduced to Nikan back in like the mid to late 90s. I got reintroduced to it when I met Sherry Danzig in Atlanta. And I didn't think I was interested at that time. I still had all my Nikan products that I was using. But once you Nikan took care of the issue that I had at the time. And then it's like I just kind of was rolling with the products that I had. But after meeting Sherry, she kind of piqued my interest. And I thought about the fact I had two grandsons that had issues with sleeping, and the doctor had prescribed something for them to take. And medicine, they were actually waking up in the middle of the night wired for sound. And my daughter and her husband are taking turns being up with the boys. And I was like, aha, the sleep system, which I was already sleeping on. And I realized that I needed to join NECAN initially to be a wholesale customer, so that I could let my two younger grandsons try use the sleep systems on their beds. And after seeing the success that they had, I ended up joining NECAN. So they are the reason that I am a part of the NECAN family, and glad to be on board. But so my daughter, you know how people can tend to be skeptical, and she's like, "Well, mom, is it really the sleep system that's making them sleep now?" Although she knew for a fact that they were getting up in the middle of the night. And so Sherry says, "Well, tell her just take the sleep system off the bed then." She said, "No, no, no. I'm not going to take that kind of chance." And I tell you, they joined me in California last year at our NECAN conference, and they were off those sleep systems for all that time that we were there. I didn't think to fold it up, as Barbara told us that that would have been a good idea. I didn't think to pack them up and take them to California. And by the time that we got to the airport, getting ready to go back home, those boys were kind of off the chain. And as soon as we walked through the doors at home, my son-in-law says, "Oh, this is their last night of vacation, so I'm gonna let them have a sleep." And we both went, "No, they're trying to sleep on their beds. They're going to their beds." So there was the proof that she had. It took a couple of years for her to see it for herself,
Mhm.
but that was all the proof she needed, that that sleep system is absolutely working. But she already
I've
knew
got a
it.
question. I've got a question.
Go ahead.
I suffered from a condition some preemies have called non-24 sleep wake disorder. That sleep system that I have, I actually have two of them. I'm trying to coax my daughter into put that sleep system that I bought a second sleep system for her bed downstairs. She took it off of the bed. Now, why, I don't know. But I'm gonna coax her to see if I can't get her, if because she has trouble sleeping some on occasions too. But I haven't convinced her yet to put that sleep system back on the bed. So I'm she's just one of these people that she's got to learn the hard way, I'm afraid.
Well, I will say that more times than not, with the sleep system in particular, I think not everybody loans products. I like loaning the products. And so I think sometimes people don't notice what's happening until they don't have it anymore. And so more times than not, I've heard people that either are recent purchasers of the sleep system. They're still a little skeptical because they're not really sure if it's doing anything. I've had them say they went away, they traveled, like what Debbie was just sharing, and they slept poorly, and then they come back and they realize that they're sleeping better. I've had people that I've loaned the sleep system to over the last almost 28 years now, and I've had people
Well,
say, didn't notice a thing.
when
Didn't
I
notice a
traveled,
thing. Hang on one second. Hang on one second, please. And they said they didn't notice anything. And then they called me back within the week and said, oh, wait a minute, I am noticing something. I forgot how I felt before the sleep system. Because what you have to realize with these technologies is that they're very gentle, and they simply create an environment for your body to, again, work with the science of sleep, of helping to support the right temperature and for you to be comfortable, and all those things that you saw in what can disrupt sleep. And so we're, as humans, we sometimes forget we're very adaptive. And so we can start sleeping well when we're on the sleep system and then kind of forget how we felt before that. And so I like to recommend that people get on it, and then if they're not sure if it's helping, get off of it. Get off of it for a few days. Um, I've had people say, "Oh no,
I
one week,"
traveled,
and they're
I
not going to
traveled,
do that.
yeah,
So the other thing is that I've worked with children who have had some sort of a challenge where they're having problems at paying attention in school. They're not doing well in school. They're falling asleep in school. Teenagers, that sort of thing. And I've asked the parents, because then you're working with the parents. I've coached the parents, have them on the sleep system for 2 weeks and then take them off, and so then you have that comparison. So I think if you're, talking to people and wanting to coach them on how to note whether to notice, that's a good thing to do. One experience was a child that had a lot of challenges and was not really communicating very clearly. And I asked her to take her daughter off after 2 weeks, and she reported later and said, I'm sorry, I didn't follow your rules. My daughter, her personality changed, her awareness changed, her communication skills changed so dramatically that I'm never taking her off of it. So I was trying to get her to have that comparison. So if somebody notices it, that's great. But just be aware that they're very subtle changes. Um, and, some people notice overnight, and others, it may take a week or two. It might even take a month, but wouldn't that be worth it? I mean, none of the challenges that anybody has are something that has probably been developed overnight anyhow.
I noticed, I noticed my non-24 came back when I had been traveling, and I went out to Minnesota, didn't have the sleep system with me, and I was a damn, when I got home, that was the first thing I said, I'm getting on this sleep system. I slept for 13 hours.
Wow, it's amazing. Connie, you've got your hand up.
Well, I don't call it my nature fit sleep system. I call it my recharging station, um, because I teach active strength training classes, two a day, and I'm very active, and I need to wake up each and every morning with a smile on my face, ready to go for a 7 a.m. class. Otherwise, I'd never get those ladies to do a thing if I dragged in and had no energy. So they have to see me energetic, and I feel it. And I know, as you say, when you're not on the sleep system, you have there's a lack of energy, you don't sleep. I do a million flip-flops a night, and all of that sort of thing. So it's definitely a recharging station for me.
Fantastic. Thanks, Connie. Barbara, did you have I'm not sure if you left your hand up or you had another story you wanted to share real quick.
I just have a couple of comments. Um, we have often been asked, where did we come up with the name of our business, Silent Impact? And it came as a result of us observing. We owned and operated a bed and breakfast, and we made the products available to our guests to use while they were staying with us. And we never failed to see them silently impact benefits to our guests, hence the name. But I will make one other comment. If you go to meet a client in their home, you can pretty much tell if that home is subjected to smoking. I do not loan any fabric Nikan technologies to people who maybe they're doing it in the garage, but it still filters into the house and you can't get that smell out of the fabric. So they have to sign a disclaimer for me that they do not smoke. Um, and when I go to pick up my loaner product, if there is any indication of smoke, I already have their credit card to charge them for that product. I had to do that after getting stung a couple of times. So it's just something to keep in mind. There aren't as many smokers in the world nowadays as there were. But if you're willing to loan the product to somebody to give them the benefit of the technology, it's just something to keep in mind.
Thanks, Barbara. One story I just want to share, one more you kind of reminded me, and then we're going to wrap it up. There was a time for about 5, 6 years that it had to get shut down when COVID hit. I had a wellness room in a boutique hotel in downtown Atlanta. And the wellness room had the whole sleep system. It had an air system, a water system. It had the lamp back in the day when we had the LED light, the shower system, I think, did I say that? So it was creating this whole environment. And what was interesting and fun and sometimes aggravating is I had a catalog in the room and it had my contact information because the arrangement I had with this hotel was that any sales of anybody that was interested came back to me. The hotel, we split an upgrade. So we split that 50-50. The hotel got money and I got money every time someone rented the room. But any of the sales came back directly to me. And on a number of occasions, I don't know why people thought that they were sleeping well and they could call me, but I got calls at all different times of the night with people saying, I don't know what this stuff is, but I want it. And I'd be like, okay, great. Can we talk in the morning? I mean, I got a call one time, it was pushing 2 o'clock in the morning. So, people don't have to know what it is to say that they want this again. So that experience is, even if you don't like loaning products, as Barbara said, if you invite somebody to your home and have the sleep system on the couch or a massage table and let somebody lay down on it. I've heard so many stories about people have so much sleep debt. They have such difficulty with sleep over and over and building up that they will just go out. The sleep system oftentimes calms the body down in such a lovely way that people can notice it very quickly. So that's a lasting thought as well to share this. Thank you all so much for being on and sharing your wonderful stories. And with that, I will wish you all a good wellness night.